another week with Wannabe Youtuber series, and for this month it's going to be my fall favorites week. This series is going to consist of 5 or 6 videos like my week of Halloween with Wannabe Youtuber series. It's going to consist of 5 to 6 videos, and those videos are going to basically be some tips on how to be cozy, some of my favorite things about fall, and some fun DIYs, and a couple recipes. So to kick off my fall favorites week with Wannabe YouTuber series, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make your very own pumpkin cinnamon rolls. Let's get started. Okay, since there's a lot of ingredients for these pumpkin cinnamon rolls, I'm going to break it down for you guys, and the recipe and instructions will be listed down below in the description, so you can look there if I'm going too fast for you or if I miss something. So what you're going to need are your utensils, and for these utensils you're going to need some saran wrap, a medium-sized saucepan, 2 large mixing bowls, a baking pan, a pastry brush, a whisk, a fork, and a rolling pin. And since I don't have a rolling pin, I'm just going to use my hands or use my creativity to figure out how to make a makeshift rolling pan, but a makeshift rolling pin. But if you have one, don't worry about it. Now what you're going to need for these pumpkin cinnamon rolls are the ingredients to make the spiced sugar mixture, and you're basically going to need 1/2 cup of sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of whatever other spices, 1 teaspoon for each, of any of the other spices that you want to put in it. For example, I put ground ginger, ground cloves, nutmeg, allspice, pumpkin pie seasoning, whatever you want to put in it that is fall themed, I guess. So that's what you're going to need for the spiced sugar mixture. And moving on to the flour for the dough, you're going to need 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of sugar, 1 egg, 1/4 teaspoon of dry active yeast, 1/4 cup of milk, 4 tablespoons or half of a stick of butter, unsalted butter, okay, first thing first, I'm a realist. Nope, I'm not. Okay. Alright, step 1, we are going to start making the dough, and to do that you need to take your milk, sugar, the 1/4 cup of sugar, the dry active yeast, and the 4 tablespoons of your pumpkin puree, and put those in a medium-sized saucepan, and your 4 tablespoons or half stick of butter in a medium-sized saucepan. And what you're going to want to do is take this over to your stovetop and gently warm this mixture up until the butter is melted and everything is all mixed together. So turn your stovetop to a low-medium heat and gently bring your pumpkin puree, sugar, dry active yeast, milk, and butter mixture to a medium heat, stirring occasionally until the butter is melted and everything is well combined. You might want to start off with a mixing spoon, and then when the butter melts, move to a whisk. Right, this should only take a couple minutes, and you'll know when it's done when the butter is completely melted and your mixture is smooth. Now we're going to turn off our heat, set this pan aside, and we're going to begin step number 2. And for step number 2, all you need to do is set this pumpkin mixture aside for 15 to 20 minutes to let the yeast inside of it cultivate. And you'll know when it's done when there is a thin foamy layer at the top of the mixture. And when that's ready, we'll begin step number 3. Okay, now that our pumpkin mixture has set, we are going to pour half of our flour into a large mixing bowl. Pour in the pumpkin mixture, add 1 egg, and then we are going to mix this all together with our whisk for about 5 minutes until everything is well incorporated, and then we are going to add the remaining half of our flour into this mixture and mix it again, and that's step number 4. And if you guys are using a stand mixer instead of doing it by hand like I am, just put it in your stand mixing bowl and just mix this around on a medium speed for about 5 minutes. Now that we have mixed up half of our flour and our egg into our pumpkin mixture, we're going to add the remaining half of our flour, and then we're going to knead all of these ingredients together for about 10 to 15 minutes until everything is well incorporated. And you can use your hands to knead the dough, or if you're like me and you don't want to make a huge mess right away, you can use a spatula and just fold everything together for a little bit longer than 15 minutes. So maybe 15 to 20 minutes if you're using a spatula. And if you are doing step number 4 with a stand mixer, you're going to want to use the bread hook or the dough hook attachment and mix this mixture for about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, and have that on a medium speed. And you'll know when this mixture is done when everything is a giant ball of dough. And then we'll move on to step number 5. Alright, now that our dough has been kneaded for 10 to 15 minutes, either by hand or 15 to 20 minutes by stand mixer, what we're going to do is we're going to take our second mixing bowl and we are going to grease it up with some oil or some butter, and you're going to put your kneaded dough inside of it face down, and you're going to squish it in there, and you're going to cover this up with our saran wrap and leave it for an hour. The reason we do this is so the yeast will have time to rise and the dough will expand about twice its size, and that usually takes about an hour. So while you're waiting for your dough to rise, you can spend this hour cleaning up your space or not, and going on the internet, doing whatever. You could also get in your favorite cozy pajamas and watch a movie for an hour. Or you could cook dinner because you're filming this video way past dinner time and you're starving. So without further ado, I'm gonna go make some mac and cheese, and I will see you guys back here in 1 hour. Well, technically it'll be an hour for me, and for you guys it'll probably be a scene cut right about now. Alright, now that our hour is up and our dough has risen to twice its size, you're gonna flour your working surface, and you're going to take your dough out of its bowl. You're gonna lay it out here, get some flour on it, and roll it, hi Diana, and roll it with your rolling pin. And if you're like me and you don't have a rolling pin, you can take a heavy can and wrap it with some saran wrap and use that instead. So, see, look how nice that works. Thank you to Diana for giving me this genius idea. So what you need to do is you're going to take your dough out and roll it so that it is about, a ½ inch thick. That's what I'm going to do, but you can make it as thick as you want it to be or as thin as you want it to be. But just keep in mind that you're going to need to make at least 5 or 6 of these cinnamon rolls. So that will depend. So the amount of cinnamon rolls you're going to make will determine how thin your dough is going to be. And then as soon as it is as flat as we would like it to be, we're going to cover it with some melted butter. So while I'm doing this, you guys can go ahead and melt your butter, get your ingredients ready if you're following along at home. So go melt some butter and get your pastry brush and get ready to brush that on after we have rolled out our dough. And generously coat the top of our pumpkin cinnamon roll dough, and then all of those spices and the sugar that we had set aside for the spice sugar mixture. You're going to want to take your fork and mix all of those together until they're well blended. And then once you do that, we are going to also generously top the buttered dough with that spice mixture. And then we're going to roll it all up. Maybe not as thick as I just did, but you get the idea. You want to generously top your dough, because when we roll it up, the sugar spice mixture is going to be inside of the cinnamon rolls, and that's what gives these pumpkin cinnamon rolls their, I guess, fall spices. For some reason I just want to listen to Spice Girls right now. Can't imagine why. And then we are going to pinch the ends so that it doesn't unroll when the rolls are in the oven. Oh, and during that hour break, I forgot to mention this earlier, but during the hour break when your dough is rising, you're going to want to preheat your oven probably towards the end to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and then get your baking pan ready and grease that with some of the melted butter that we use to cover the dough. That way they won't stick too much to the pan when they're baking. So pinch the ends and get yourself a large kitchen knife, and using your large kitchen knife, you are going to cut your cinnamon rolls into about 2 or 2.5 inch pieces. So this batch usually yields about 5 to 6 rolls. If you make them about 1 inch to 2.5 inches. Oh, I didn't use a cutting board. YOLO. But if you want to be careful and you actually care about your countertops, use a cutting board instead of cutting directly on the countertop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, about 6 pieces, and they are beautiful on the inside, let me tell you what. Now that you have cut your pieces of dough into individual cinnamon rolls, look at that. That's what they look like. So all you need to do is just take these and squish them into your baking pan. And you want to lay them down like flat like this. If you lay them like this, all of the good stuff will squeeze out of the sides. So you want to bake them with the spiral facing up. We're gonna take these over to our preheated oven at 375, and you're gonna cook them for about 20 to 25 minutes. And when that's done, and when they've come out of the oven, you can go ahead and just wait 10 minutes until they're cooled, and then you can eat them right then and there. Or you can wait like I am, and you can wait about 15 minutes, and we're gonna ice these with some cream cheese frosting. Alright, now that our cinnamon rolls have come out of the oven and had plenty of time to cool, what we're going to do is, if you're just going to eat them and not use icing, go ahead and skip this step and stuff your face because they smell great. But if you're doing icing and you don't want to make your own homemade icing, just take some store-bought icing and microwave it in your microwave for about 10 seconds, maybe less than that, because you don't want to set your microwave on fire. But what you want to do is you want to melt it until it is really smooth and runny like this, and just drizzle it on top of your cinnamon rolls. And take a bite, because now our cinnamon rolls are ready to be eaten. Diana, Caitlin, you guys want food?
Does that mean I have to get up?
Yes, you'll have to get up because I want to get your reactions. And really good.
Do we have to be on camera in our really hot pajamas?
They're super sexy. Caitlin's dying.
My body's broken.
Come on. Let me do what you guys think. Grab one.
Struggling.
No, you don't.
Ow. No, I don't. Ow. Yeah. Can you grab me a plate too?
I grabbed mine and it wasn't hot.
Molten stuff is pretty.
It wasn't hot when I grabbed it. You guys are Winnies. Winnies. Sissies. Alright.
You're a Winnie. Listen.
more cowbell.
It tastes like all the fall spices in one though.
I know, I put like everything in our spice cupboard into it.
As much as I
And
just
the
like
cayenne
pumpkin
pepper
spice.
and garlic.
Oh, that's
No.
There's
the
no
fall
garlic, so it's not that great.
Caitlin loves her garlic. You can't tease her about that.
If you ever got turned into a vampire, your life would suck.
I'm not gonna be a vampire.
Oh.
No vampire
Your
can
life
turn
would
me.
suck.
Life lesson, children. Eat a lot of garlic so you cannot be turned into a vampire. You're welcome.
Life lesson. Caitlin's weird.
Well, the final verdict on this is I used too much flour. I could have used a lot more pumpkin. I didn't use any cocoa.
Un poco.
Un poco, that means a little.
Just a little.
Spanish lesson, un poco, a little.
Or according to Caitlin's cousin, a lot un poco.
So,
We're having an educational episode, friends.
So, what the changes that I would make to this recipe would be add like maybe another tablespoon or two of pumpkin puree. Go down to 2 cups of flour instead of 2.5.
Especially when rolling it out, that's when you absorb a lot of flour. Ow, hot.
and
they're hot.
make sure that when you're serving these to have plates ready because you don't want your roommates burning their fingers on the molten sugar.
Your roommates who have been up since 6 a.m.
I also do not want to burn my fingers on
Hey,
things.
I cooked for you. You're welcome. Now smile and say that tasted good.
It tastes delicious.
Also,
no, seriously, it does.
Camp
taste
A
delicious.
swag, friends. Camp A swag.
Camp A
Say
what?
what?